welcome to the last video for this week. We are going to continue today looking at interpreting pie charts involving percentages. So I'd like to pause the video and have a go at your Fluent in 5. So hopefully you pause the video, let's look at the answers. We've got 845, 6 sevenths, 12 and 2/3, 25 and 65 remainder 2, or 65 and 2/6, or 65 and 1/3, or 65.33. If any of you got all of those for the last one, wow. But if you got all of them right, well done. So I'm going to go through a challenge example today, and then you will have a very similar challenge to do yourself. So we've got two pie charts here. The one on the left shows how often class 5 travel to school in a car, and the one on the right shows how often class 6 travel to school in a car. So you've got two different classes here, and the first thing to work out is how many children are in each class. I'd like to have a think. Can you spot anything there that will help you? Either have a think yourself or talk to the people around you. How would you work that out? So hopefully you've had a chance to have a think. Now, if you look very carefully, that the green segment here is 1/4. Exactly 1/4 of our pie chart. That means that if 6 is 1/4, we need to times that by 4 to work out our whole. And 6 times 4 is 24. So that tells us that in class 5, there are 24 children. If you look over at class 6, it's tilted and not quite as easy to see straight away, but the green segment again is 1/4. If you know that 7 is 1/4, then you know that you need to times that by 4 to find out your whole number, which is 28, because 7 times 4 is 28. So if you get a question like this, there will always be a clue somewhere which allows you to work out the numbers. So we've got 24 children in class 5 and 28 children in class 6. Our next question, how many children in class 6 travel by car every day? Now, can anybody spot the piece of information that allows us to work this out? Have a very careful look. So we have got all the information here we need to work that out. We don't know what percent every day is, but we can work it out. So if you look very carefully, you know that 7 children came 3 times a week by car. Now 7 was 1/4. So we were able to work out our whole number. If 7 is 1/4, then there are 28 in total. Now if you look, once a week and 3 times a week are both identical. They are both 1/4, which means they are 1/2. If you then look at the other side, if you look every day and once a month added together are also 1/2. Now that's really vital. If once a month and every day together is 1/2, you know that 1/2 of 28 is 14. So you know that once a month plus every day gives you 14. Now, once a month has been labelled. You know that 3 children travel by car once a month. So you need to do 14 for our 1/2, take away 3 for once a month, and you are left with 11. That tells us that 11 children come by car every day. Now, if you had an extension here that asked you for once a week, well, you already know once a week because it is 1/4, so you know that it is 7. So can you see how you're able to work out the values of all of those segments of the pie chart just by knowing 7 and 3? So this is your challenge for today. It says, did more children in class 5 or class 6 say that they travelled in a car every day? Explain how you know. Then your extension, find all the missing numbers. So you need to answer your question at the top, but you then need to work out each of these segments. Enjoy. I'll go through the answers in a second. Okay, so hopefully you've had a go. So, did more children in class 5 or class 6 say that they travelled in a car every day? Explain how you know. Well, the answer is class 5. More children travelled by car every day in class 5. We know this because if 1/4 is 30, then we know the whole is 120 because 30 times 4 is 120. We are then able to see that every day represents 1/2, and 1/2 of 120 is 60 children. Then if we look over at class 6, it's not quite as simple for class 6 because their everyday section doesn't represent 1/2, but we can still calculate it. We know that 35 children said 3 times a week, and 3 times a week represents exactly 1/4. So if 35 is 1/4, we need to times that by 4 to find our total, and we know that our total is 140. We then can see from our pie chart that once a month plus every day combined together make 1/2, and we know that that 1/2 is worth 70 because our total is 140. So we know that these two together are 70. We are then able to subtract 15, the once a month, away from our 70. If you do 70 take away 15, you get 55. We know that 60 children travelled by car for class 5, and we know 55 children travelled by car for class 6. So very well done if you said class 5. Now some of you may have jumped straight to class 5 and said class 5 because it's 1/2. Now yes, I can see that. 1/2 is a larger segment, a larger proportion than this proportion here. However, there are different numbers of children in the class, so we can't use that to compare it. We have to calculate it properly. Then the extension to find all the missing numbers. Well, if you know that this is 30, you're able to work out that this one was 60. Then I gave you here a percentage, 5%. Now you knew what your total was because you knew your quarter and you did actually work out your 1/2. If 1/2 is 60, then your whole is 120. So you needed to find 5% of 120. And 5% of 120 is 6. You then know that this remaining percentage here must be 20% because this is 25 and this is 50 and you've got 5 here. So this must be 20%. And 20% of 120 is 24 because 10% is 12. The other way to calculate it would be to add 30, 60 and 6 together and find what your missing number was. Over with class 6, you already knew that 35 children travel 3 times a week, and that means you know this one too because it's exactly equal. And you were able to work out every day because you did your 55, add your 15, which gave us 1/2 of, which was 70. Very, very, very well done if you got that right. Congratulations, you are done for the week. See you on Monday. Bye.